Hello and welcome back to the She Gallery Show. Thank you for being with us. You are with us live and you're with us with our special guest, Dante Williams. Dante, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you are also with us live, which means that you can join this conversation by calling the phone number found at the bottom of the screen, 312-738-1060. Again, we encourage you to call and join the conversation. We are here with Dante Williams, and he is from Chicago, and he was with us for Family Resemblance, the evolution of Chicago-style graffiti, supporting his cousin Orko, who was one of the writers that we had, and he's also been involved with artistics endeavor that he was here last week with the Chicago Heritage Hip Hop Museum that just opened last month, and we just wrapped up July, right? But there's still some activities going on with some celebrations. Dante Williams was one of the DJs that was mixing at the museum this past weekend. And we look forward to hearing more about all of your contributions. So Dante, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay. I was born and raised in Leclerc Courts, which stood on 43rd and Cicero to 47th and Cicero. And that's pretty much where I get everything that I do today from.
Your neighborhood?
Yeah, the neighborhood. It's people that were DJs there. It's people that were dancers there. People that did graffiti. People that DJ'd. And that's kind of where I get everything from, as well as entrepreneurship, because I was seeing that going on in the neighborhood too. From people selling candy outside of their home, selling pops. I'm going Chicago slang.
Mm-hmm.
And they were selling toys. Some were fixing bikes or appliances like radios. And if you really want to get technical, a lot of them knew how to fix toys too, like G.I. Joes. So
we're taking this back.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I got a lot of that from the Leclerc Courts and other places that I've been. The Village, which used to be not too far from where Maxwell Street used to stand. Being around in those environments, 63rd and Halsted, that kind of shaped who I am. And as well as the north side, like around Clark Street, Lincoln Park Zoo, places like that.
So you started kind of paying attention to your environment and you started kind of adapting to what they were doing and you started doing it yourself?
Pretty much.
You're a DJ. What other elements of hip hop do you practice?
I was doing writing for a minute. This was as far as on the journalism side.
Mm-hmm.
Just writing out essays and putting them in different places. And, just emailing them out to people. But the elements I used to break back in the day, but it was mainly to house music.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't gonna say I kind of lost it, but I'm kind of out of practice. So I just mainly stick to DJing. Some people would say you could say graphic design, but that's not really graffiti unless you were a graffiti artist and then you transitioned over into graphic design. I can't rap worth a lick.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it.
Okay. So when Dante was with us at the opening of Family Resemblance, I noticed that he was observing, right? And there was a piece that somebody needed a kind of some help with pricing. And I think that that's something that a lot of artists struggle with. Something that stood out with what Dante shared was that to be an artist, you kind of also have to go or know a little bit about business. And I don't know, I can't speak for every single artist, but I think that becomes a little bit uncomfortable for artists that are just trying to practice for themselves to heal, or because it's something that artists are doing from their heart. So when somebody asks you to put a price on something that you're doing from your heart, I think that that's difficult for a lot of people. But it was kind of rolled off for you. You were like, oh, well, this person made this this year, and you based some criteria before you priced it, and that seemed very natural to you. Can you talk to us a little bit about pricing and how entrepreneurship came in for you?
Wow. Gonna put me on the spot like that.
This is what this is. We are live. And you can call us again,
Right.
312-738-1060. These are good questions.
Okay. Well, seeing everything that I saw and the artwork that I saw, because I've done gallery exhibitions.
When you say you've done, you mean you've curated?
Yes,
Okay.
I've curated gallery exhibitions
Mm-hmm.
as early as 2013. And by the work that I was seeing and how a lot of them took what it is that they used to do on the street and they turned it into something. I hate to use the word professional, but I'm gonna say it, just for the sake of the show, to bring it into something professional. Um, and it's your art, it's your creativity. You should be able to sustain yourself with it. And a lot of people don't think that. Yes, that whole thing about the starving artist and you make all this great art, but you live poor. And a lot of artists, over what 200 years, thought they had to live that way. It's not even the idea that it's 2022 now, but you're good at what you do. You should be able to sustain yourself with it. If you don't, um, you know, then you'll just be that artist that people talk about that didn't go any further as far as what they could have did with their art as well as the business side of things, because some artists refuse to learn that.
Okay. So, do you think that things have changed with pricing? Do you think that people are valuing themselves more nowadays? You think that art is valued more? Or street art, graffiti art?
For the people that's looking and searching for it, yes, but not like it should be to where you could just put it up anywhere, and the casual art fan or anybody that just happens to be around would want to take that piece home.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of stuff is niche based right now, unfortunately.
Okay. So you said when I brought you on, you wanted to make sure that you covered some elements that were important to you, but something that stood out to you is that you said, I want to let the city know about the city.
Yeah.
You wanted people to know about certain DJs and certain dance squads and MCs and graffiti artists and different events, family and people oriented, truly for the community. And why is this important to you?
Well, to be honest, when people are active in various activities, they don't have time to be bored,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's in their own city. I can remember when I was a kid and you'll watch, regular TV and then cable, and you'll see all of these great events and things like that happening in other cities, actually other states. You'll be like, man, what's going on in Chicago? In Leclerc Courts, we used to put on our own events. If it wasn't in the back areas where we live, because it was a housing project, slash row houses, we would go to the field house or we would do the event at somebody else's house. And that's pretty much what Chicago is all about. We'll just throw events uh, doing some of anything. The problem is that it's not widely known to the public. Going back to the niche thing, if you're in the know, then you will know where these events are and how to participate in them. But if it's not in front of your face 24/7, how are you going to know what's going on unless it's in your neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the city definitely needs to know about the city, because there's always things going on in the city that are productive, that are constructive, and that are peaceful.
Mm-hmm. I think that has a lot to do with the way the city has stayed so segregated. People are taking care of each other. People are taking care of their neighborhoods, and there's a lot of lack of trust. So something that we've noticed. I don't think that we're the only ones. I think that everybody that is in Chicago, and I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I've certainly noticed here in Chicago, the violence is out of control.
Yeah.
Seriously out of control. Um, I've worked downtown for 20 years, and this is the first year that I'm not there. And I was just recently there, and it's lost complete control. Nobody cares anymore. Like, you're smoking weed on the street, you're drinking alcohol on the train, and it seems like nobody is doing or saying anything. It's almost like everybody has permission to do whatever they want. And that's not the Chicago that we used to know. The news that we're seeing, there's gunshots, and there's just people dying senselessly on the regular. And I know that this was in certain neighborhoods, and now it's everywhere. Why do you think the violence has increased that much recently, and what do you think can be done as a community mentor to help take care of our neighborhoods, to get back to these roots, these community roots, to help each other?
Well, it used to be back in the day where if you went to certain neighborhoods, you knew where to go and where not to go. And each neighborhood pretty much looked out for each other. If you came in peace, nobody bothered you. I can remember where a lot of guys, from different high schools in the city used to come out to my neighborhood, and it was very welcoming, even though you knew they were from another side of the city. As long as they didn't bring any drama, it was okay. That'd even be the same thing if they were seeing girls. A lot of them didn't know where they were going, so that's another story. But in this case, what I feel that can be done, neighborhoods just have to start looking out for you know each other again. Everybody has to be aware of their surroundings. Definitely have to watch out for the kids. And some neighborhoods back in the day, and even recently, used to have block clubs, or they used to have neighborhood watch, so you could see who was doing what. People just need to be community oriented again.
Okay. So building community, going back to building community and the importance of building community. We've been talking a lot about hip hop. We've been talking about the elements, and one of the elements has been this love and this building of community that has been done through these elements. Now, that's not to say that you have to be a hip hopper to build community. It just means that you have to care enough to care about your community and build it. There's been a lot of developers and things that are helping the city, but it seems like that's not really for the entire audience of the city. It seems like that's only for people who can afford it, and that's not a lot of people. So what happens to the rest of us? What happens to the people that cannot be involved with these developments because we're struggling with job loss, and with trauma? I think that trauma has been something that continues to be ignored. And as it continues to be ignored, it continues to grow. And now we're seeing the suicide rates increase. And I think that has a lot to do with the violence that we're seeing and feeling right now. What can we as artists, as filmmakers, as photographers, as lecturers, what can we do to help heal those forgotten traumas?
Well, it
And
definitely
what have
has.
you done?
Well, I've thrown lectures. I've been part of events, community-based stuff, and work with kids in various areas of the city, and let them know that it's other stuff out there. It's not cliche about their block or anything, but it's other things you can do in order to help your community, and in turn the community will heal itself, because there will be no room for you know any boredom that may lead to violence, and violence that may lead to even worse things. The funny thing, though, is that most people always have this kind of conversation, and then when you bring up solutions to them, they don't want to implement them. They're just, content with just yelling and screaming about it. They don't want to do any, actual work, because they feel it's not going to help, and, it's too far gone. And when you have, the city acting like that, just like you said earlier, it does feel like that, and people, will have that sense of hopelessness. if not just myself, but if everybody, and necessarily you don't have to, you know, be connected with each other. You just have to be on the same page with each other to do things around the city, and that'll curb some of the madness that's out there, especially everything else is going on because remember we were in a pandemic for the better part of 2 years, and that broke a lot of people's psyche. They didn't know how to respond to it, and a lot of them felt like there was no hope, and that stuff started happening. So people for the longest have been looking for escapism because they don't want to deal with the reality. And if we keep on putting on events, uh, not just around the city, but in different communities, people will see how important their communities are, how important each other are, and how important they are.
How important humans are. I think that's a really big thing. Self-respect. If we're not respecting ourselves, we're certainly not respecting our neighbor, and it's very easy to give up. As you mentioned, escapism has been a really big thing, and escapism can be substance abuse, and substance abuse regularly turns into domestic abuse, and it just goes on and on and on.
Don't forget social media.
And social media has been something that has helped and hurt our community. If you visit our website at sharinghisenergygallery.net, let's see if we could go to the website. If you go visit our website, and you can check out all of our previous segments, season 1, season 2. We're now at season 11. I have to update it. But you can see here mental health awareness segment that we did. This was around the social dilemma special segment. This was in May of 2021. Many of you may be familiar with the social dilemma, where you can learn a lot more about living in this informational age. Get involved, become informed, and help each other. I think that self-respect is extremely important. If we could take the screen back. Thank you. So some of the most recent work that you've done that you've been most proud of has been with the Chicago Public Library, right?
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about how you have helped these communities through the library?
With the lectures and workshops that I've had, and also a gallery exhibition, they've asked me to come back, various libraries in the city, to do lectures and panels in order to not just empower the youth, but to let them know that there's more out there than what it is that's in front of their face that they can do and be part of, because they don't get to see that kind of stuff on a regular. Me, I came up different. I mean, like I said, I came up around people like that in Leclerc courts that could do various things. And that kind of stuff was put in almost every housing project in the city. I mean, the Jesse White tumblers came out of Cabrini Green. Members of the House of Maddox and a lot of DJs from Clint to Sluggo, Dion, they came out of the low end. Slick Rick, the master, came out of Henry Horner Homes. I'm out of Leclerc Courts. My friend DJ Jermaine, who DJs with MC Light, he's out of Leclerc Courts and parts of the West Side like I am. And the people, especially people that know, they don't pass that kind of information on to the next generation or to the kids that are becoming adults right now. That kind of stuff is non-existent. And through Chicago Public Libraries, I've been able to let people of all ages know that that stuff is, it's alive and well. It is, it is out there for you to take part in. That stuff is real. It's not just, what it is that you may see when you turn on the TV or when you link up on social media. It's in front of your face if you really want to do it.
How have the youth and how has your audience been responding to these lectures and events?
Yeah, a lot of times they ask for comebacks. Some have asked me to train them, and it led to me also doing them for youth groups as well as in high schools around the city.
Okay, so it's needed. You've received a good response. When you host these exhibits, are you involving the youth, the kids that you're mentoring, or who? What do these exhibits look like?
Basically, it'll be me doing a lecture and workshop on various topics. And let's take mine that's coming up pretty soon, Careers with Hip Hop. I've been doing it for 8 years, and I would break down the history of a lot of different things in the four elements and the other elements that people don't talk about. And I would talk about how those people that started out in those elements either quote unquote have day jobs or they have their own businesses and they're still active in what it is that they do. And I've written class curriculums and programs and things of that nature for youth groups based off and pattern after the stuff that I did with Careers with Hip Hop and a couple of other lectures that I do. The gig economy, uh, Chicago's music legacy, which is also coming up after this one, and the panels that I've done in high schools and at Chicago Public Libraries about anything that they can do, pretty much along the lines of you can do what it is that you want to do in addition to with, what you need to do. You could separate the two when necessary, but you don't have to pick one over the other. You can do it. You could do both.
Okay. So for people that are in neighborhoods or in situations where they feel like they've been left behind or forgotten, it's very hard to be motivated to do even one or to believe that you can, right? Which is part of the problem. How do you, or what kind of advice do you give to people to help motivate and to help them find their direction as to where their strengths are? Is that part of your programs and your lectures?
Yes. Everything is very accessible right now, more than what it is from back in the day with social media being a big part of it. Um, there's things you can do around your neighborhood. You can go to the websites in the city and find out anything about youth programming, or you can just type in uh, different tags up in Google or any other search engine and find out what's going on in Chicago for the youth or youth oriented programs or community oriented programs and start there. I know for a fact that you have programs that teach kids how to be filmmakers. There's programs that teach kids how to
Ken
be
TV. Hello.
kids how to be DJs, dancers. You have Louder Than a Bomb that does spoken word and hip hop, shows and poetry slams. You have Collaboration, which was out in the Flatiron Building in Wicker Park, where I did one of my first exhibits. And you have a lot of people that are active in the arts and music community that are doing these different workshops and classes for kids, both in person and virtual.
And East Squirt Space, it's another nonprofit that we've worked with. She Gallery is another platform. And I think that what you're saying is that there are resources out there and that we have access to these resources and that we should take advantage of these resources. I know time goes by really fast, and I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to talk about the DJs, the dance squads, the MCs, the graph artists, and the different events that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. It's a hip hop event coming up on Sunday, August 7th, called Battle for the Eagle. All hip hop, all ages, from 12 to 8. I have my lectures and workshops coming up at the Carter G. Woodson Library and at the Bessie Coleman Library, Careers with Hip Hop and Chicago's Music Legacy uh, in August. So stay tuned for that, or you can hit my page, Facebook, GATG, or Going Against the Grain, Proposals and Designs. All the events are up there. And I think the Footworkers are going to be having some events coming up pretty soon, especially at Merchandise Mart, where they do gallery exhibitions combined with footwork. It's like a fusion thing of footwork and art. And there's going to be a lot of events with various DJs in and around the city, coming up before the summer is out. So
Yeah.
a lot of them will be on all sides of the city and in the suburbs.
Okay. So we'll make sure that, or you'll make sure that you let us know so that we can share this with the public. Battle for the Eagle. I know we've talked about Battle for the Eagle for some time. When we were here with Artistic, when we were here with Brick Array, when we've been here with B-Boy B, Flash. This is an annual competition that goes on. We talked about the panel discussion that She Gallery was a part of earlier this, or last month now, it's July. As part of the celebration, this hip hop celebration that started at Hairpin Art Center, and there's events that continue to go on. We were here with Al and Seven, who hosted those MCs, the MC discussion, and you're gonna meet more members of Renegades of Funk and one of the MCs that came to visit for one of those panel discussions. So you'll learn more about that coming up. So make sure that you stay in touch and that you support. Again, something that was brought up to me was, Battle for the Eagles in the North Side, and we need more things in the South Side. And if we have that mentality, then we're still contributing to segregation, and it's really time to stop that. So support your city at wherever it's at, right? Even if you leave the city, still continue to support all communities, because that is helping stop segregation and evolving, which is what we're meant to do. I know that we still have our Evolution sign up here. This was part of the promotion for Family Resemblance, the Evolution of Chicago Style Graffiti, which is an exhibit that we celebrated and helped you learn more about these artists. But that did end, but the evolution has not ended. And just this past weekend, we hosted a mural production here in Pilsen. If we could just go right back to the screen. You can visit us here, and if you stay in touch through our IG page, where is our IG page? Here we go. You can check out our mural production there. Here we'll show you a little clip. We just put this on earlier. We had, let's see if we could put the music on. We had East come back and visit us. This was a collaboration between myself, East, Narrow, Labs, Kodak, Juice, Like, Kane, and Stuck. Thank you. So, again, you can stay in touch with us through our Instagram page and on our website, and you can learn more about our upcoming events. So that was a production that was put together here on 16th and Wood, supported by the 25th Ward Arts Council, completely self-funded. Out of love for the community, we had a great response, and nothing feels better than having people say, wow, this is beautiful. Wow, thank you so much for doing this. The concrete was falling, and how much did they pay you, and who put this together? And the faces, the looks of these faces when you say, oh, well, we did it for the love of the community. And when you have an artist like Ruben Like or Kodak, who we've had on this show before, or Kane, contribute to take their time, or for East for flying out, it really speaks a lot. And I really hope that you all enjoy this mural. We also want to remind you that we will be collaborating with the Newberry Library this fall. Our registration opens September 1st, and we'll have that information up on our website shortly. The 500 Years of Writing, curated by Dr. Jill Gage, has invited us to come on for the graffiti program with East, Pengo, and myself. So we will continue to celebrate the evolution of Chicago-style graffiti. Even though the exhibit is long gone, the history is not. So that is all that we have for today. Thank you, Dante, for being with us, and thank you for joining this show. Please stay in touch with us. You can always contact us through our website. If you feel like you have a story that you would like to contribute, please hit me up. This is also volunteer work. And every season I say I'm not doing it anymore, but the community keeps pulling back, and here we are serving you. Peace.